And so, a lot of times when you have an unsupportive husband, most of the time your business is not going to thrive. And so you have to have that support behind you. You're going to work it as long as you can, but you're not going to stick with it if you don't have that support behind you. And so, a couple of the reasons why, we don't have that support is because we go into it with very high expectations, and sometimes with a short time frame. So, for instance, you may say, like, well, I'm going to be making $5,000 in 2 months. And so those expectations may not be met. No, some people may do that, but not everybody is going to do that. And so, the expectations are not met. And then you may say, well, I'm going to be replacing my income, so I want to quit my job right now that I'm doing right now. And then what if that doesn't happen? And then it puts some financial burden between you two. And a lot of times in marriages, that can be one of the biggest things that causes, a divide between you two is finance, And so another thing that to me is huge, and I think that everybody goes through this, especially in the beginning of your business, is attention. We all know that our men love our attention. And so when we are putting, our time and our effort into something like this, then a lot of times, sometimes our time and effort is taken away from them. And, not only do they get jealous of that, but they want our attention, and so we have to really start to realize that and set those boundaries and that kind of thing. And so if we're on our phone nonstop, if we're on Facebook all the time, if we're on the phone all the time, especially during like our family time or our time at nighttime when it's just you and him or whatever, those are the kind of things that you really have to kind of step back and look at and realize that, okay, I've got to figure some things out, because this ain't gonna work in the long haul, continuing to go through and do it like that. And so there's definitely some fixes to some of the problems in this. And so we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is my husband, Dusty. And so I didn't even introduce ourselves. So I'm Christy. This is Dusty. And we've been married for October will be 11 years. And we live in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Some of y'all are on my team, and I know personally, and some of y'all are not. And so I started direct sales. So I'm a nurse. I've been nursing, I think this year is 12 years. And about 2.5 years ago, we had decided, we have 3 kids, about to be 3 in private care and private school or whatever. And just, we don't really live a luxurious lifestyle, but it takes a lot of money to do the things that we do, to send kids to school and to, just living life. And so we were kind of at that crossroads in life where we were like, okay, what do we do? Like, we need to have a little bit more income coming in. And so at that time, I decided, well, I'll just go back and get my nurse practitioner's license. But I didn't want to, pay, it's about $10,000. And I'm like, I don't want to pay that. I don't want to get a loan for that. Like, what can I do to pay for that out of pocket without having to work more than what I'm working now outside of the home? And so a friend of mine did direct sales, and she was somebody that I really looked up to and I trusted. And so I had messaged her, and it was with another company. And so I did direct sales with that company for a little over a year. And I'm very thankful for that experience with that company, because it gave me just a lot of, like, my leaders were really great in there and a lot of great training. And so when Color Street came along, I just knew, like, it was just a God thing. I tried it, and I just felt like it was going to be something that was going to be extremely huge. And at that point, back in October when I joined, I was nervous about it because I had a team with the other company, but it was just a God thing. I just felt like it was just what I needed to do. And so we just kind of started our journey with Color Street, and it's been extremely awesome so far. I've grown not only as a person, but just have met some wonderful new friends and some things like that. And so Anyway, so that's a little bit about us, and I'm gonna turn it over to Dusty.
Hey everybody. Thanks for all the husbands joining. I'll say a few things about myself. I work for Energy. I'm going on 11 years. I had 10 years on the overhead distribution side, and just was blessed to have an opportunity to take another job inside in the design aspect of Energy. With that said, that was around about a $30,000 pay cut a year, and we really didn't know how that was going to affect us monthly. But we went out on faith and made that call. And with that said, that year that we took that big pay cut, we started evaluating our lives and our walk with Christ, and we started tithing more than we ever have that year. And so we seen a roughly $30,000 pay cut, and then we tithed that year more than we ever had tithed before, and we never seen the loss of the money. So here comes Color Street, and Christy was like, I'm wanting to dive into this, and I seen her work ethic towards the other company, and I seen her struggle a lot of times with not finding the women that would work hard as she did or put the time in that she did. And so it was frustrating to watch her just be let down from some of her team, just not finding the hard workers like she wanted. And when she come to this company, and it exploded. It went so fast, and she's gotten some really, really strong legs, some hard workers on her team, on y'all's team. So we've been very fortunate with that. I also see my wife tithing with the money that she's making. She's making some big money with this company. But we also, me and my wife, talk about each month, if it's $500 or it's $800 or if it's $5,200, we're blessed to have that extra money a month. So we don't ever shoot for that the same money that was last month. We just hope that it's something that will help this family, and we're very thankful for it. And so there has been some learning curves in our path together with this company. Several times, Christy would, be on the phone a lot. And when it was our time, after the kids got in bed and sitting there watching the news or whatever, she would just be on the couch, on the phone the whole time. And we finally had to have a talk where, you had to divide that certain time of day where it benefits, the company, but benefits the time with the spouse that the couples really need. So we went through that stage. But there again, also I understand what the end of the month means to her and her business. I understand that, there's some late nights that last night that she's having to do some looking around, looking at her team, looking at numbers. Throughout the month, I ask her, how's everything going? How's your numbers look? So I'm involved with that. But not only that, it's just my wife. I'm supposed to be registering in August to go to Level. That's undergrad for seminary. She's already said, Dusty, I cut a check the first month anytime for you to go back to school. Went and got a couple suits for just a bit of preach. That was paid by Color Street. So she is just doing more and more for me, for the family, and for others, for ministries around our town. So I'm so thankful for this. We don't know how long it's going to be, but it's just growing and growing. So thank y'all for the time that y'all invest. Thank y'all, husbands, for backing your wives, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. So just a couple steps, just for our spouses. I know we kind of already hit on these, but these were just a couple things that I had wrote out that I thought were kind of important. And so one of the biggest things in a direct sales company is it's a long process. Really any career. I even look at my nursing career and I just think about, I went and got prerequisites for 2 years, and then I had to go to school for 2 years. I had to learn for several years before I even felt comfortable doing what I was doing, and so it's a long process in whatever career that you're doing. And so a direct sales company is the same thing. And the people that stick with it are the ones that will be successful. And so I do encourage you to stick with it. You're going to have months that, you're like, I mean, I haven't even sold anything. This is one of my months, y'all. I've like sold hardly nothing this month. And I'm like, okay, I've got to find some new customers, And so he has encouraged me. He's like, you can do it. Find some new customers. Talk to some new people. That's where I needed that support and that push behind me, instead of like somebody that's dragging me down saying like, well, you haven't found any new customers. What's wrong with you? And so just be patient. Success takes time. And so, some people are successful very quickly and others are not. But the people that stick with it will be successful. And so the next thing is this really goes for people that have kids, because kids, just like tonight, we were like threatening our kids, like, don't come out of your room. You have to be in bed, bribing them with ice cream, whatever, just to get them to like go in there and stay so we can do this. And he has a Zoom at 9 o'clock after this. And so anyways, just being helpful, like using, instead of just the mom being the one that like, does everything around the house, like, if you know that she's working her business and like she is the end of the month, and like if you can fold that one load of laundry for her, do it. Like, you have no idea what that will mean to her. And I mean, same thing. I see you patting him, Krista. Jason, fold that laundry. Anyways, and so just being that team, together. And so I don't know who that is. That's not our kids. And so the next thing we've already talked about was just setting the ground rules. It's a business like this can easily take over what your lifestyle, if you allow it to. Constantly on your phone, constantly, just talking to people. Those kind of things are okay, but you have to set ground rules. For us, just putting the phone down in the evening, not while we're eating dinner, things like that. And so, and the next thing is just being flexible. Like we said, at the end of the month, like that's one of the last couple of days of the month where I may be on my phone a lot more than what I usually am, or I may be staying up a lot later than I usually do, or something like that. But just being understanding and flexible with each other and not getting upset, and then the last thing is just being graceful. I write down here that God's good at grace, but we are not. We need to coordinate our calendars and be gracious with each other. Wives are a lot better at the whole support thing than husbands are. Wives tend to understand what it means to support their husbands and their kids. Husbands are more accustomed to being supported than being supportive. And so that is something that husbands have to learn. It's a skill to learn how to really be that supportive drive behind your husband. And so those are just a few of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight. We won't keep y'all any longer. We just wanted to, have y'all on here for a minute. I think that in a business like this, if you are married, if you're not, then you're in it alone, and that's okay. But if you are married, it definitely takes both of y'all to make this work. And so I just really encourage y'all to be the best team that you can be, and getting the word together, pray together, pray over your business. I think those things are super important. So do y'all have any questions, comments? Nobody
wants to know what his sales quota per month should be as a husband.
So I don't know. Ask Dusty. Every time I get paid, he has something new that he wants. So hey, we laugh at first, but it's really not funny. When I started doing this, I opened my own account for Color Street, and so I said, "This is my Color Street account," and he corrected me very quickly and said,
Our money, our money.
Yes, it is our money. It is not just your Color Street account."
That's funny because I'll say, it's okay because I bought this with my money. He was like, what? Our money?
Oh, that's so funny. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments, takebacks, anything? Karen, y'all do ministry. Has this been able? I know your business is one of the ones that's slower growing, but is that kind of one of y'all's dreams together to be able to support that ministry that y'all do?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's awesome. And that's one of the cool things about this kind of business is like you can do those kind of things. You know, I know this year, I mean, I feel like the tithing check that I give to the church from Color Street is like almost equal to what we tithe with what we make together. You know, it's not quite there, but it's almost there. I mean, you know, which is crazy. Crazy. So, well, look, we'll let y'all go and get back, but I appreciate everybody getting on tonight. And if y'all have any questions, I'm available. And anyways, y'all have a good night. Bye.